In this scenario, universities are being hamstrung by distance learning. Technology transfer has only really produced benefits for the top few, and so many universities are actually stepping back from it. And a lot of the things that universities do can be replicated online or in other kinds of spaces, and they may be on their way to becoming really just very expensive coffee shops, places where people casually get together and chat. In terms of sustainability, dematerializing innovation is helping companies not just improve the return on investment in their research budgets, but actually to reduce their carbon footprint and to push carbon off the books into offshore locations, into workers' homes, into crowdsourced kinds of platforms. And parks become this big target for carbon regulators and watchdog groups and are in a very vulnerable position. In terms of bioindustry, they're virtualizing to keep their innovation pipeline full while putting the same amount of money into research to improve the productivity of R&D. But it's only good for incremental innovation. And because the parks aren't in a strong position in this scenario, they have not been able to build these translational research spaces. And so the big breakthroughs in biomedicine and biotechnology may be less likely to happen. And in terms of science networks, this is really a total disconnect. With the exception of a few parks that might turn themselves into event spaces that appeal to new online communities of science, there's not a huge role for parks. And what this might look like, it might look like some of the things that are going on now in industry to maximize the use of real estate assets, telepresence and advanced immersive video conferencing, virtual worlds. We have an island in Second Life for this conference. IBM has been doing innovation jams every year in Second Life to show people how you can collaborate in cyberspace. It might look like sweating the asset, which is the corporate real estate manager's term for cramming more people into fewer spaces, smaller spaces. It may look like new tools for collaboration, like Google's Wave technology, which just was announced last week. What else? It might look like big projects stalled or getting canceled. In the Las Vegas region of the United States, there's a large technology park named after one of our more prominent senators that is quickly on its way to going out of business without having developed any buildings. In Russia, the ambitious National Technopark project launched several years ago, which has produced beautiful design, world-class designs by world-class architects, and has not laid a single brick and is very much in jeopardy right now. It might also look like a lot of innovation around creating knowledge and creating platforms for doing science and technology online. Knowledge spot markets like Innocentive, which basically let companies just outsource problem solving to the internet, or Elance, which allows freelancers from all over the world to provide technology services. So I don't want to scare you, and that last scenario actually is pretty scary. I think parks can thrive in any of these scenarios, but it's going to require strategies and business models to adapt to all of these future forces simultaneously. And in our white paper, we draw out about a dozen big strategic implications that come out of this study. I just want to go into three very quickly. I think it's clear that as we move into a world where it's knowledge networks that are driving growth, not knowledge institutions, we need to reassess our assessment tools so that they measure the stuff that goes between, not the stuff that's inside institutions or places. This is a chart that shows collaboration on biotech patents in the Boston area over a 10-year period. And this is the kind of map that we need of our parks, of our clusters, of our technology regions to really understand how money and knowledge and talent is moving through them. Clearly, business models need to evolve. Can you go back one for me? Sorry. Business models need to evolve. We're already sort of well into an evolution of the research park model moving from products to services. It's not just about buildings and infrastructure and land. It's about flexible spaces for research. It's about incubation. It's about creating commons where people can come together and collaborate. And in one of our discussions about this evolution, Rick said, well, it's moving from managing dirt to managing activity. And I really agree with that. Frank Duffy, a British architect who's been thinking about this shift, has remarked just how difficult it is when you develop commercial real estate today to put small companies and big companies in the same building or even on the same site, because the things that are marketed to big companies are unaffordable for small companies. And we've clearly seen this morning that there's a demand for that from industry, and we need to figure out how to make it happen. The third implication I want to pull out is this idea of making know-how sticky and supporting enterprises that don't compete globally in areas of technology that you may be starting from a very low base, but take local assets and recombine those with advanced technologies. One of the places that really is visible is in manufacturing. And my co-author of this study and colleague from the Institute, Alex Pong, is here today. He's been thinking really deeply about the kinds of innovation that happen on the shop floor in manufacturing. And companies from Intel to BMW, which is shown here, have turned that to great advantage. And I think nothing embodies that more than Zaha Hadid's design for the BMW plant in Leipzig, in which the assembly line for the vehicles actually moves through one of the office areas of the factory. And the idea there is to encourage mixing between the blue-collar and the white-collar workforce, not just for social integration, but for innovation. And I think there's infinite number of opportunities around the world to think about how manufacturing industries can be retooled by introducing new technologies. 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of visiting Espetec in Castellón, just up the coast from Valencia in Spain. And this is a region that has a history in the ceramics industry, which is being very hard hit now by the bust in the construction industry in Spain and throughout Europe. But ceramics and tiles are fantastic. Just like paper now is being reinvented through the introduction of computer technology. This is an area that you can really think deeply, and now is the time to have those discussions and make those investments and think about how you reinvent your legacy industries. We're certainly going to have to do that with the automobile industry in the United States over the next few years. So that's a real quick tour through this very rich forecast. The entire white paper can be downloaded from the Institute's website at the address you see here. And Rick and I are planning on developing this study further and thinking more detail about exactly what are the kinds of things, actions that this foresight makes us think we can use to actually solve some of these challenges, or at least get ready for them. And I welcome any questions, any correspondence. My email address is up here. It's a little small, but thank you very much for your time, and thank you, Rick, for letting us do this.